Yep. Okay. Hey, Sam, having played Missouri State last year, does that assist in scouting and getting ready for A&M based on, some of Bobby Petrino's tendencies, I guess?
It might a little bit more, obviously we watched it. It might, certainly the fourth down play and things of that, we've got to put in our mind. But Missouri State's quarterback was mobile as well as what Luke is. So, or excuse me, Max is. And so uh, we'll see. But yeah, we have looked over that to see what some of his tendencies might have been and how they relate to the team that he's coaching this year.
All right. We've seen Hud Clark in some green this week. What's his status? And maybe could you talk more broadly about how the safeties have played and how their importance in this game?
Well, Hudson's had a shoulder banged up a little bit, and we just decided, we were going to try to get it totally healed up this week, which I think we're close to doing. I think we're going to go ahead and have him in green again today. Safeties, I think the safeties have played pretty well this year. Obviously, in man-to-man coverage, we've had a little bit of I won't want to say problem, but our guys getting behind us have been more corner driven than safety driven. So I'm liking how all three of those guys have played. And of course, you can call it four with Snacks being a hog, but I kind of look at him more of as a linebacker than I do a safety. But yeah, I think they play pretty well, and I think Clark will be totally healthy for the game.
Thanks.
Otis.
Coach, I got two questions, one from me and one from Nate. On mine, Jalen Braxton, what has he done well to move into contending for a starting spot, I guess? He's certainly getting a lot of playing time.
Yeah, you can certainly count on him. He's athletic. He's fast. The game's really important to him. He's come along. I mean, he's come fast, as far as that goes. Looking at has started a game, played in every, played a lot in each game, and certainly he's going to play a bunch this week as well. So a lot of it is that he came in ready. He's a grown young man, but he's just an exceptional athlete and doing some really good things, and he'll continue to get more and more reps as the season goes on.
Have you seen him really improve since week one? Because he struggled a little over at Little Rock. I mean, as you would expect, true freshman. He talked about that a little bit last night. Have you seen a vast improvement since that first game?
Really have, and that usually what happens with playing. You always, if you have a talent, and then playing builds your confidence on that talent. You kind of turn it loose a little bit more, or you understand what your responsibilities are a little bit more, and you become the person on the field that you're capable of being. So I think that's what happens with every freshman, as you see with Has. He's just getting better each week because his confidence is just turning it loose each and every week a little bit more.
Okay, Nate wanted to ask you about restoring the confidence in the defense. They played really well till he said the last drive of Saturday night and then the second half. And also he wanted to know, does A&M present any of the similar problems on offense to LSU?
Absolutely. They obviously have Stewart and Ananias Smith, and I mean they're good, and so they have guys that can run by you. If they catch it, they're going to be hard to get on the ground. Certainly have a really good quarterback in Max Johnson. He started a lot of games in the SEC. So yes, some quite similar situations there because they have really good wideouts and a guy that can get it to them. Our defense, we played really well for almost a half, and then got beat a few times. The defense as a whole, if you look at the front and the linebackers played pretty well. We got beat in man coverage a few times and got beat in some zone coverage. That's got to get fixed. And I think if we do, I think we can put a full game together. And certainly that's what we're hoping happens this week.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, Sam, I've got another Isaiah Satania question, but more on special teams. On kickoffs, does he have like a set of rules whenever to follow? Like, hey, am I going to return this, fair catch it, or is it strictly kind of a feel thing for him?
Well, he has a feel for, hang time and things of that nature. But going into each game, it changes a little bit. On how deep he'll set in the end zone, whether he's at the goal line, 2 yards deep, 3 yards deep, whatever. And then at that point, we're saying as long as your feel is good, your internal clock is good, then bring it out. We would like him to bring out everyone that he wants to for most of the time, unless the situation dictates something differently. We have not always felt that way. A lot of it's been because I was afraid we were going to get a penalty, on the return. But we've been this is probably as good of special teams as we've had since I've been here, and so a lot of it has to do with the punters, the kickers, and the returners, But I also think we're blocking better and things of that nature. So most of the games will go in. Well, all the games will go into a yard line that he stands on, and then give him the opportunity to bring it out if he feels like the time the ball's in the air, he can get it back to the 25 or better.
And along those same lines, I mean, with a guy like him, you kind of live with it if he only gets to the 20 this time, but the next time he could get you to the 50 or something.
Absolutely. And again, I haven't always felt that way. As a matter of fact, this is the first year I really feel like, if he takes off, you hold on, and see what happens. So, this year we've changed certainly. And to be honest with you, we saw it in practice because he, in the scrimmage, he took one back to the house, and that certainly helped our feelings about him, and of course the punt return. So, yes.
Bob.
I think you're still muted, Bob.
Great.
Hey, Coach, curious about last year's game. I know you talk about trophy games and stuff, but I wonder if you're talk about last year's game, the way it played out, as any type of motivation, revenge factor, or anything, or is it just all eyes forward?
Have not yet. We would certainly use anything that we think that will help us motivate us to win. And a lot of guys will say, well, you shouldn't need motivation. You always need as much motivation as you can get. So we certainly haven't used that yet, but that's some things we certainly could talk about.
Last 6 games have been 10 points or less. Been a lot of close games. There's overtime games and stuff in this series. But Arkansas, since they've been in the SEC, I guess is 1-10 against A&M. What are your thoughts on that, and just from a historical standpoint with this rivalry?
Excuse me. Well, I would think that the rivalry would mean more to us, because we're one of the last 11. Certainly, I've been on some of them overtime losses and things where the game looked like it's ours, just like last year, and not able to win it. But it's definitely a rivalry for us. You don't see many series lopsided at 1-10, like that. But we did go through some rough years as well in there. But I think that if we can get a lead, we got to figure out how to extend the lead and not try to just hold on to it. And I think we certainly tried that last year, and I thought there at the end of the game we were going to score. I didn't know what the time on the clock was going to be. As a matter of fact, I was worried about scoring too fast, but I did. At that point, we were running the clock, and I just wanted to score, and then we had the errant snap that killed a lot of that stuff. So hopefully decision making and all that stuff will be as good as it possibly can be, and we'll come out on top. But the rivalry for us has to be more than for them, just simply because I don't know how much you can truly respect an opponent that you've beaten 10 out of 11 times.
And last question, kind of a random one, but I was wondering, now that you're 4 games into the season, is there anything about this team, aside from just like the obvious, is there anything about this team that has surprised you versus what you maybe thought you had in fall camp?
Well, probably DeBinion has played last week probably better than I thought he would. I felt like our offensive line would be cohesive by this time, but it's hard because we haven't been healthy up there. I look for that to certainly improve. We are a hard playing football team. Us playing smart has been something that has surprised me, because I did not think that we wouldn't play smart. And we sometimes, with all these pre-snap things, we're not playing smart. But I felt like most of it, I knew what we had. Our wide receivers are playing better than I thought they would in the spring. Probably about what I thought they would once fall camp concluded, to be honest with you.
Thanks, Coach.
Bob.
Hey Sam, I think I got it figured out. I don't know what was going on there, but hey, KJ is tied with Matt Jones for, I guess, most touchdowns accounted for passing and running. I don't know if you ever got to see Matt play or watch film of him, but if you had any thoughts on Matt and the kind of player he was, and then maybe what it says about KJ, he's on the verge of breaking the record that Matt's held for a long time.
Matt Jones was an incredible competitor. I mean, that's what I remember about him, and gave you a chance to win, sort of like KJ gives you a chance to win each and every week. And both of them were very strong, making things happen, sometimes not out of nothing, but out of almost nothing, and making big plays. And KJ, to be able to have an opportunity to break that record shows how valuable and how important he is to our football team, and what kind of a competitor and athlete he is too. But both of them great leaders and great competitors from what I saw of him.
Thanks.
Jackson.
Yeah, Sam, you mentioned last week that you had plans to give Devin Bale some reps at punter. Of course, he only punted it once. I'm just wondering if that plan is in place again, or if, maybe Max is, a success on special teams, he's going to handle the punting duties against A&M.
Jackson, I that one there, I wouldn't be surprised if Devin, he punted extremely well yesterday too. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets his opportunities to go out there. I trust him. It depends, obviously depends on how Max is doing as well. But there may be a situation where we put him out there and he, he's awful good at putting the ball inside the 10 when we get in that field zone territory. So he can punt, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if he doesn't punt some for us tomorrow or on Saturday.
Thank you, Sam.
Daniel.
I was wondering, on offense and on defense, just the players who maybe aren't getting as many reps as they want, do they know specifically what they have to do in order to get on the field more? Is that specifically communicated?
Yes.
And then I was just wondering, do you draw on kind of your own experiences to motivate the team, given going into a game like this, having lost back-to-back, I guess?
Back-to-back with the A&M? Oh, you mean back-to-back
Yeah.
games this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you always anything that you could motivate your team and relate to what we're getting ready to do, you draw from past experiences, and we try to show it on the. If we can get video or we can get something that relates, we try to show it to them in picture form or in video form of what that motivation might be. So, absolutely, I think that's the advantage of some guys being older. They've experienced a lot of different things, and you can draw from that in your past experiences. Here with me being here now 7 total years, obviously this will be the 7th time we played A&M, so there are things to allude back to for the team. Absolutely.
Thanks so much, Coach.
Wrap us up, Hutch.
Yeah, Sam, you're 4 games in, so the 4-game redshirt rules is starting to come into play. I remember last year Ty Washington came and talked to you. Is there anybody that's come and talked to you, or anybody you might kind of pull back on from the freshmen?
We sat down and talked about it as a staff, and probably not right now. There might be a guy or two that you would want to talk about that hasn't got to that, either via injury or hasn't played yet. Excuse me, via injury or wasn't injured and only played in a game or two. There may be talk about 2 to maybe 3 of those guys. Not as many, question marks right now this year, but nobody's come talk to me like Ty did last year. And there's probably 2 guys that we're looking at to kind of figure that out, but they just haven't played enough. This would not be 5 for either one of those 2.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you.